Good morning. Welcome to the 2026 women's final live stream between Chwalinska and Andreeva. This will be a very exciting match, and you can look at it from a couple of different viewpoints. If you look at Andreeva's history, she has displayed some issues with her mental game. Of course, this is not a general statement. Andreeva, one of the most talented players on WTA Tour, and the fact that she won back-to-back WTA 1000 titles by beating the best of the best, Swiatek and Sabalenka back-to-back at Indian Wells in 2025. That means that we're dealing with a big-time player, the highest caliber of player. However, there have been some matches where Mira displayed some problems with her mental game. She would get emotional, had some anger outbursts. For example, we go back 1 year in her quarterfinal match against Proton last year, who made a surprise run, somewhat similar to Chwalinska. She was ranked 370, if I remember correctly, and Andreeva played her in the quarters, and that's a match that she should win normally. And she lost that match. And of course, it was a difficult match because the crowd was against her, but she displayed some anger issues, shooting balls into the stands and all that. And she's not one of these players that can start playing better when she gets angry, in my opinion. I think when she gets angry like that, it drags her game down. So, since that match in Roland Garros 2025, where she lost to Proton, the rest of the season, relatively speaking, for Andreeva's talent level, she underperformed. However, she's made a change this year and came out strong. Won a tournament early this year. And on clay, together with Marta Kostyuk, she's been the best player in the world. Very consistent. And I've seen big improvements in her mental game, even when things are not going her way. For example, that Madrid final that she lost to against Kostyuk, even though it wasn't Mira's day, there was a much better performance compared to some other losses that she had. So Mira has made a big jump in regards to working on her weaknesses as a player. So now comes the ultimate test, because Chwalinska is comparable to Proton, but even at a much bigger level for several reasons. First and foremost, this is not a quarterfinal. This is a final. This is the ultimate stage. It can't get much bigger than this. On top of that, Chwalinska is a lefty. Lefties are generally more difficult to play for righties because there are not that many lefty players out there, What is it, like 5 to 10% of the population is lefty. So righties play against righties. And even lefties play against righties. That's why that semifinal between Schneider and Chwalinska was such an interesting match. That's first and foremost. It's tough to play a lefty to win your first Grand Slam title. On top of that, Chwalinska has a wide repertoire of shots. I'll be honest, just like many of you, I've never seen Chwalinska play prior to this year's Roland Garros tournament. And I picked her, if you look at my draw here, that, by the way, Simone actually got into. I wasn't paying attention. He put a few holes in here. If you're joining the live for the first time, I got a cat. I got a couple of cats. And I picked Chwalinska to lose in the first round to Zheng. It's right here. She came from the qualies, and I got Zheng beating Chwalinska. Zheng, she won Olympics at Roland Garros. So this is a top player. And that match was so fascinating. It caught my attention immediately. First and foremost, I do have a lot of Chinese, subscribers, and I am on Red Note. That's a story for another day. When TikTok was going away, was it last year? Open up a Red Note account, which is the Chinese version of TikTok. So in any way, I do have some Chinese students, let's call them, and several of them had written me and asked, "Hey Nick, did you see Zheng lost to a moonballer?" and it caught my interest right away. I'm like, a moonballer, really? So I went back and watched this entire match. And I was captivated with Chwalinska right there from the get-go. Again, I've never seen her play before. And remember in the beginning of Roland Garros, it was very hot. And ball was bouncier. And she played such a smart match against Zheng. You know, she was putting the ball high to the Zheng backhand. And of course, mixing things up. And I didn't really perceive her shots as moon balls. They were just higher, heavier topspin balls. And Zheng was forced to take backhands above her head. And then when Zheng tried to take him early and be aggressive, of course, clay, especially when it's bouncy, it's not easy to time those shots. And she was basically self-destructing out there. So I thought that was an exceptional match from Chwalinska from a tactical standpoint. Then she takes out Mertens 4-0, just like she did Zheng. So I was like, okay, this player is a serious player. This is incredible to win 5 matches in a row, you know, come from the qualies, win 3 matches there, and then beat Zheng and Mertens 4-0 back-to-back. Both are, I mean, Mertens is a top player as well. So, as you guys know, the conditions changed in the second week, and it wasn't hot anymore, and I was wondering how she might adapt to these changes in conditions. Maybe, you know, her game will lose something because she likes that high forehand. You know, she likes to put the ball above the opponent's strike zone. And when it's colder, the ball moves slower and doesn't bounce as high, right? But then I watched the Chwalinska match, and that's a whole another side of the coin with Chwalinska. And her repertoire is incredible, because in that match, she was still putting some balls high, no doubt about it, but she was also spreading the ball beautifully, angling her forehand cross-court, going down the line, making Chwalinska run side to side. Also, she, in all her matches, utilizes a very interesting slice backhand technique that I will actually dedicate a video to, maybe next week. It's a 2-hand to 1-hand technique. And she also uses that technique on her backhand drop shot. And this slice can go straight, it can go cross-court down the line, but it can also go that way. Okay, so let's draw this real quick and I'll show you. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, but it doesn't hurt to show you again. So Chwalinska will hit her slice, all right, backhand slice, and the ball will go like this. Okay, not that extreme, but you catch my point, right? And that's side spin. So she's got that shot. Her drop shots are incredible. Both forehand drop shot, backhand drop shots. Her volley game is good. She's got good hands at the net. She's got good hands at the net. She can finish points up there. Her serve is much better than you think. First and foremost, she's lefty, and she's got all the serves. She's got kick, she got slice. She can also flatten that out. So the serve might not be that fast, but it is a tricky serve. Just watch that match point against Schneider in the semis. You see that serve that she hit on 40-15. Down the tee, that ball curled a little bit away from Schneider. So that's as a lefty to hit a slice down the tee and, you know, make that effect on the ball. That's not so easy. We're not going to get into the reasonings for that right now. That's a story for another day. And on top of all that, you know, a lot of players will try to come to the net against Chwalinska, and it's not that bad of an idea, especially if you're running a lot, if you're being drop shotted, if you're getting high balls. But here's the thing, Chwalinska is an exceptional passer. She can curl the ball right at the opponent's feet, and she can also pass you. So Schneider was coming in too much, in my opinion, that match, and she was getting passed left and right. On top of all that, to complete this picture, Chwalinska also has an exceptional topspin lob. Add clay court to the mix, and this makes her a very difficult opponent. And like I said in my preview video, an absolute nightmare opponent for Andreeva, where she's trying to win her first Grand Slam. So she's going to have to be on top of her game. Most importantly, she's going to have to be mentally sharp and she's displayed an improvement in her mental game this year. So one would expect that Andreeva is going to come through this one. And the only question mark for Chwalinska is whether she's going to be affected by the stage, because she is now a superstar. And prior to this tournament, that for her started 3 weeks ago, she was relatively unknown in the tennis world. So will she crumble under this pressure, let's say, because there's going to be pressure for her too, to perform well in front of this global stage? We shall see. It's going to be a very interesting match, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Again, I want to welcome you to the Intuitive Tennis live stream. And a little bit delayed, this match. It's 9:21, supposed to start at 9. So we'll take a look at the chat. We got a bunch of people in here. It's nice to see. Take a look what's going on with you guys. Nick, you need to earn that subscription today. Peter Volsky. I thought you were going to subscribe, but she won the semis. Didn't you say that? I remember you. You said if Chwalinska wins this match, I will subscribe. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Next Netflix slam. Who from the ATP and WTA should play next time against each other? How about no one? Because that was not fun to watch. That first Battle of the Sexes or whatever, Kyrgios Sabalenka, that was terrible. We don't need that. We do not need that. Acha-cha, good morning. How you doing? Good to see you in here. Almondo, good morning. Alexandre, good morning. True Tennis Vibe is in the house. Good to see you in here. Kathy, good to see you in here. And players are warming up. Okay, let's discuss conditions, because, you know, as I was watching the TNT preview for the match, it looked like cloudy, windy, so I thought it might be indoors, but it looks like it's very windy, and we'll check the wind in a second. And they're playing outside, so that's advantage Chwalinska right there. But the good thing for Andreeva is that she's kind of like a Chwalinska too. She has a wide repertoire of shots. She's a high percentage player, high percentage power player. She's got it all. She got a good serve, good return of serve. She moves well, has good feel. So disadvantage outside in the wind for Maya is not as big of an advantage as if she were to play a true power player, you know. Let's check the wind. We're going to check it all, guys. We're going to get it all covered. We'll check the wind in Paris. Let's see. It's windy. It's windy. 12 mile an hour right now. It's going to be, the high is going to be 14. So 12 to 14 mile an hour wind. That's windy. That is windy. That'll add to the difficulty of taking the first slam for Andreeva, certainly. But like I said, I think she's a good wind player too, though. I think both of these players are good wind players, so we'll see. Taking the moon balls early will be okay. Well, you know, I've done probably 3 or 4 how to hit a moon ball videos, and they really apply to any level. And those videos, I do make, you know, suggestions based upon level, and certainly like the higher the level goes, the better players are at taking balls early. That's certainly true, because taking the ball early requires, first and foremost, clean technique, but it also requires good timing and good footwork. However, it still increases the risk. And the risk is higher when that so-called moonball, even though it's not really a moonball from Maya, I'm certain she sometimes will hit a true moonball. It's more of a heavier penetrating topspin shot, and those are very difficult to take early because, you know, off the bounce they're quite speedy, and you take that early, high risk. Simone, you want to look outside? And you might make mistakes. All right, we're getting started here, guys. Chwalinska serving first, and I gotta change my scoreboard real quick. All right, second serve Chwalinska, double fault. Remember what I said 5 minutes ago. This is the ultimate grand stage for Chwalinska, and she might feel the pressure too. There's that high forehand. There's a backhand cross court, making Andreeva run. Bounce overhead, through the middle, and forehand, inside out winner, hits it right on the line. Good rally from Chwalinska there. Thank you for the super chat, Marcus. I appreciate you. And a return error from Andreeva, 30-15. Andrea Girolami says, well, first, thank you for a compliment. So tennis is not in good shape because of qualifiers in the final of Roland Garros. Can't look at it that way, you know. You can look at it from a positive angle. The tennis is so good that a qualifier can make it to a final, because WTA has improved so much, especially between 100 and 200 in the world. Drop shot from Chwalinska and a beautiful topspin backhand off a drop shot from Andreeva. She pumps her fist 30-all. It's an excellent shot from Andreeva right there. So between 100 and 200 in the world is so strong, stronger than ever before in the history of the WTA. And like Maya said, you know, the level between the quali matches and the main draw matches, she didn't feel that much of an increase in level. So just realize that tennis is incredibly competitive, and this happens once in a blue moon. This is surely not something that you'll see happen very often. We see Raducanu do it before. Another drop shot from Chwalinska, and Andreeva doesn't handle that one this time. It's two drop shots in a row, both down the line backhand drop shots, 40-30. So generally you'll see the favorites come through, but every now and then you don't. You know, that shows you the level of tennis that's played in the lower rankings. It doesn't mean that the top players are weak. Chwalinska attempts a higher backhand, but the ball sails on her. She misses long, 40-all. Mirror looking good early. High forehand from Chwalinska. And Mira, what we talked about earlier, aggressive off that high ball, hits an inside-out forehand winner. Add out, break point Andreeva. Laura says, sometimes the tennis star is just a line for a player during a tournament, 100%. You guys remember a guy called Martin Fekek? Dutch guy. Anybody know him? What a beautiful forehand drop volley from Chwalinska. She saves break point. Deuce. Mira could have done more, of course, with that passing shot. Forehand approach shot from Chwalinska was pretty strong, but Mira was right there. And again, the feel on Chwalinska on all her shots is spectacular. Who knows Martin Fekek? Trivia question. Intuitive tennis. High ball from Chwalinska. Backhand cross court. Another backhand cross court. There's a slice squash shot from Andreeva. And Chwalinska tries a side spin dropper and misses wide. Second breakpoint chance for Andreeva. Andreeva playing very solid tennis early on. Exactly how she needs to play. Steady, aggressive. She's moving well. Body language is great. Forehand down the line winner from Chwalinska. She saves the second break point. Back to deuce. Yapa Man, of course he knows Martin Fekek, of course. Okay, Yapa Man knows what's up. He was in the final of Roland Garros. He lost to Ferrero. And he was an unknown player, relatively speaking. Of course, he was known. He was a top player, top 100, but very surprise final. So it can happen even on the men's side. And Mira taking those high forehands and ripping them. Excellent footwork, excellent timing. High balls not penetrating that much from Chwalinska because they've hit more from a defensive standpoint because Andreeva is applying a lot of pressure from the baseline. And that's how you hit a high ball. Right there. Third break chance for Andreeva. There's an incredible backhand cross-court winner from Andreeva, and she gets the break. 1-love. You could have not imagined a better start for Andreeva in this match. Nearly flawless. If she stays steady like this, stays calm, she's going to win this match in straight sets. Now, I will note that some of the high balls, they're not penetrating as much as I've seen them penetrate in other matches. In other words, that they're sitting there a little bit. Now, I don't know what side the wind is blowing from. That would be interesting to know. Maybe she's playing against the wind a little bit. Super Dave, you having a coffee with me? Okay, good, cool. 2 more days of coffee and I'm quitting. There's that forehand pass from Chwalinska. Like I said in the intro, she's an excellent passer. And you better come in off something good or you're going to get passed. So coming to the net is a good idea, but You have to be careful. Second serve, Andreeva. It's a very close to the line second serve, and Andreeva goes for that cross-court forehand, I guess, from the middle of the court. Misses wide, love 30. It looks like the wind is blowing towards the non-roof side of the stadium. Which one is that? Like when we're looking at the screen, is it blowing now towards Chwalinska, or is it blowing towards Andreeva? Or is it blowing from the sides? Big hitting from Andreeva, another high forehand. She does a drop shot. And Chwalinska concedes the point. That's an interesting thing there, because she didn't attempt to run that down. The drop shot was at the service line. That could be an indicator of some tightness, because when you're tight, the body doesn't want to move. So that's an interesting thing there. She didn't make an attempt to run that down. 15-30. And Andreeva gets a high backhand from half court. Should have run around that. You get a chance, no matter from where, when the ball is higher and slower, you should always make an attempt to run around and hit a forehand. You're much stronger on the forehand side, even if you prefer your backhand. 15-40, 2 break points. Second serve. Down the line forehand from Chwalinska goes long. 30-40, 1 break point left. Second serve, Andreeva. Almondo says the wind is blowing across towards the umpire side. Okay, gotcha. It's a high ball backhand from Andreeva. Interesting. Another high ball backhand from Andreeva. We're in a high ball rally. Now it's turning into a moon ball rally. Strong forehand inside out from Chwalinska. Moon ball Andreeva. She sneaks in. Fascinating rally. And Andreeva overhits her backhand down the line. And Chwalinska breaks back. So earlier I said when, Chwalinska didn't run that drop shot down, it could be a sign of nerves, but I'm not necessarily detecting tightness in her game. So that could have been something else. It's hard to say. Maybe she just conceded the point. Maybe she's conserving energy. I don't know what that was. Maybe she just guessed wrong and gave up on the point, but she's not making that many unforced errors, Chwalinska. There's a couple of shots here and there. She's starting well. Obviously, the second game from Andreeva, ton of mistakes. And that's going to be a danger for her. The wind is blowing from the lower part of the screen. Okay, gotcha. It's double fault from Chwalinska there. Love 15. Wide serve from Chwalinska. Buggy whip forehands back to back. Backhand down the line. Inside and forehand winner, Chwalinska. Excellent rally there. A Rafa-like rally there. A couple of buggy whips and a rip backhand down the line and puts away the forehand. Keydon asks, Nick, do you consider moonballing on sportsmanship thing? No. But there's different levels of moonballing. There's actual moonballing. I'm not considering what these players are doing necessarily moonballing, except if it's a defensively hit, slow, super high ball. That's a moonball. I think a high topspin ball is an exceptional tactic. Nice down the line backhand there from Andreeva, 1530. If you change the height of the ball and put it higher with spin, it's an excellent tactic. But true moonball rallies, listen, I coached junior tennis my whole life. It's not fun to watch. Certainly, it's not something that's going to take you very far. It can take you further, but eventually you'll reach a plateau if you're a true moonballer, because players will be able to put you away. That's a poor first serve from Chwalinska. Misses way wide. Second serve. Maya didn't move well on that particular point. Great return from Andreeva. Cross-court backhand got her off the court, but Chwalinska, a couple of steps too far from that ball, frames it. 15-40, 2 break points. Yeah, I agree with you guys. It looks like the wind is blowing from the side, which is way worse than when it's blowing back to front. From the side, it's like the worst wind, or swirly wind, when you get these like wind bursts all of a sudden. You can't calculate the wind, you depend on the wind, and then it goes away and then comes back. It's a nightmare. Very strong serve from Chwalinska, backhand slice. Another backhand slice, this one with side spin. Strong forehand from Andreeva. Andreeva pushes the backhand wide. First breakpoint saved, 30-40. Neither of them seemed that tight on strokes, going to chalk the serving issues up to wind. In SimCity, I agree with you. Not detecting that much like nerves from both players. I think the level, maybe that second service, the first service game from Andreeva, maybe not, but I think the level is good so far. Both are playing well. And serving in the wind is a nightmare, no doubt about it. Who do I think handles wind better? I think both handle the wind well. Both are good wind players. Squash shot, Andreeva. Chwalinska comes in. That's a tricky ball. Lob in the wind. It turns out to be too tricky for Chwalinska, who frames the forehand. And we got 3 breaks in a row. 2-1 Andreeva. Nick, do you remember Victor Pecci? He was modern day player in the 70s, early 80s, but nobody remember him because he doesn't win any major. He reached Roland Garros final in 1979. You know what, Andrea? I am not good with tennis history when it goes back to that era. I'm pretty good with the 80s. I'm good with the 90s and of course the 2000s. So, back then I was born in 77. So it's before my time, before I started getting interested in tennis. So I know about the Open era. I know Niki Pilic, of course, and some other players. I familiarized myself with the players from that era. I've studied their technique. You can check one of my videos out that is interesting on the forehand. The modern forehand, very interesting video where I talk about the father of the modern forehand, Bjorn Borg. And then I did an old school forehand video. I did a whole breakdown of serve technique in regards to serve footwork, and I went way back to the, Rod Laver, Arthur Ashe. So I've done some work on that era, but I'm not that familiar with players from then. Unfortunately, my dad would be. My dad would teach me when he was alive. He would tell me about that era, and I was fascinated to listen to those stories. I respect the history of tennis tremendously, So tough in the wind. You can tell, like, these players making adjustments. Andreeva on that forehand, she was trying to correct the forehand, but he got away from her. Love 15. T serve from Andreeva. Rips a high forehand. Andreeva doing a great job. That's what makes her such a tough player. Doing a great job changing up the rhythm on her ground strokes. It's not all like hard, just hard, power, power, power. Every now and then she throws in a looper, That backhand in that rally, she just threw it in high, changed the tempo, and then went hard again on the next shot. Excellent. 15 all. The toss drifted away from Mira a little bit there, too far to the right. Second serve. Catches the toss on the second serve. This is wind related, guys. Double fault. This is wind related. $15-30. Can Andreeva hold for the first time this match? Misses another first serve. Second serve, Andreeva. It's a tricky one. Gets it in. High forehand, Chwalinska, and a very strong forehand from Andreeva there, inside out, 30 all. Brad Pitt in the audience to add to the pressure. Dave asks, is there any other celebrities? I don't know, I didn't see any, but usually Roland Garros final, there's tons of celebrities in there. High backhand return from Chwalinska, and Andreeva gives her an unforced error. Goes down the line with her backhand, or inside in, if you will, from the middle of the court. 30-40. Long second serve. Double fault Andreeva. 2 double faults this game. And I think this is wind related, guys. We got no holds so far. 2 all. How do you serve in the wind? That's the big question. You have to consider the toss. And if you have a high toss, you have to lower it a little bit. You have to work with the spins, kick, slice. And you want to maybe even reduce the risk factor and go for bigger targets, because the second serve is a really tricky ball in the wind. And if you start double faulting, you can lose confidence. It can be quite a nightmare. Andreeva too far away from that forehand. You can see her reaching a little bit forward. Didn't move her feet enough. 15 love. Misses it wide. And return error. 2 very safe serves from Chwalinska in this game. Just middle of the box, no pace. And she's up 30 love. Gets a return error there. And remember what I said in the beginning in the intro. The fact that she's lefty and you're playing in the wind, it makes the return tricky. And how many lefties has Andreeva played so far in this tournament? There's drop shot lob combo from Chwalinska. Backhand cross-court dropper. Forehand, volley, lob, 40 love. How many lefties has Andreeva played? I think 0. Let me check real quick. Let me do a quick check real quick. Andreeva has played how many lefties? She has played Jill Teichmann in the 4th round. So she's played a lefty. Okay, gotcha. She played a lefty. Very hard down the line backhand from Chwalinska. Forehand cross-court heavy. Winner. First hold. Love hold. 3-2 Chwalinska. She can rip too, Chwalinska. She can rip. That backhand down the line was struck very hard. It's not like she has no power. She can hit the ball quite hard. Anna asks, what's going on, Nick? You mean with the match? I agree. Maya outplayed her in that game. I think this was the best game from Chwalinska. And Andrea was struggling with her serve in that last game with the 2 double faults. Like I said in my preview, this is going to be quite a challenge for Mira. The first set is crucial for Mira, crucial. We want to get out of this first set. TNT is a minute behind. Are you kidding? I don't know if that's true. Because I got everything. I got so many different things going on here. I got the live score. And it is behind, yeah. It is behind. My actual footage is behind. Because it's already 15 love. And I'm just watching the point now. So it's irritating. But what can you do? I can't do anything. I can't do anything about that. And Chwalinska attempts to hit a forehand, like not moonball, but high forehand by, while moving back, misses it long. Looked like the wind took that a little bit. 15 love. Have not seen the junior final. I'm going to watch it though. Seen a couple of matches, but not the final. Backhand error from Chwalinska there. Mira steadying her game, keeping the balls in play, putting a lot of height on her ground strokes. Sun in her eyes, yeah. It looks like it, right? Looks like the sun is in the face of whoever's playing on the far side. Based on the shadow of Andreeva on the court. Inside out forehand from Chwalinska. Very strong and deep. Andreeva attempts a squash shot, misses it. 30-15. Eurosport is a point ahead. Yeah, I don't get how that works. I'm also today a little bit behind the TV coverage. Usually The stream has been ahead of the TV coverage, but not today. In. And a beautiful cross-court backhand winner from Andreeva, 40-15. One sec, guys. I'll be right back. Ace from Andreeva, holds 3-all. Much better service game there from Andreeva. Solid. Three all. What is this? USA against Germany? So far, a tight match. That's what we wanted to see. We don't want to see a blowout in the final. We want to see a competitive match. Strong slice backhand from Chwalinska. Down the line forehand. She comes to the net. Puts away the overhead. What a rally from Chwalinska. Very confident looking rally there. She's really going after those shots. Fantastic point. Interesting how players have steadied themselves on their serve. We have 4 consecutive breaks and then 2 consecutive holds. And Maya starting this game very strong. Looked like she was a little too far away from that forehand. Steered it long, 15-all. The crowd loves Maya. Yes. I've seen nothing but support from Maya. People love what she's been able to do, and it's nice to see. People are excited. This is such a feel-good story. Nick, your stream is faster now. Yeah, I did some settings. I adjusted some settings a couple days ago. It used to be even worse than it is now with the latency. Strong rally from Andreeva. She closes in, puts that overhead away, 15-30. Very strong point from Andreeva. Crowd support for Chwalinska in this match. Andreeva will have to find her inner Novak and get motivation from this. It's a very strong serve there from Maya. Very deep. Looked like he had some kick on it there. Andreeva misses her return. Cross court. 30-all. But really the wind's picking up. Big wind gusts. Clay blowing everywhere. Andre Agassi is making headlines with his brutal assessments. Yeah, it's gone viral. I'll make a comment on that in a changeover. It's a tricky forehand for Chwalinska there. Is a looper shot, forehand shot from Andreeva. It looked like the ball was going into the body of Chwalinska. She found herself on the backhand side. Ball had that leftward trajectory anyway, the rightward trajectory from her perspective. And she hits that forehand long break point, Andreeva, 30-40. Goes down the tee, misses long, second serve. Slice backhand from Chwalinska, slice backhand from Andreeva. Inside out ball from Chwalinska, slice backhand again. She goes into the net with it. And it's 4-3. Andreeva up a break. Let's discuss Agassi. I've discussed this so much this week. You know, I don't know how many times I've said it. And I'm not going to go into it now too deeply, but Agassi had made the statement that Sinner didn't prepare properly for that match. That wasn't hydrated properly, and so on. But Sinner said after the match he didn't feel well. Why can't we just listen to Yannick? Like Arnaldi didn't feel well. He didn't even go on the court. You know, so he didn't feel well, didn't sleep well. How about just listening to Yannick for once? Maybe he had some kind of virus or something. Who knows? I mean, like you say, Jalur, to think that Yannick doesn't... Okay, to think that Yannick Sinner somehow is not prepared or out of shape when the guy is going on these rampages, indoor rampage last year, clay court rampage this year, together with the Sunshine Double. To think that any of this would be possible, or to win Grand Slams, or to play against Alcaraz and lose 7-6 in the fifth, to think that this is not possible without being exceptionally fit and being the ultimate professional, it makes no sense to me. How people can even begin to think that Sinner is unprepared or not hydrated. A very strong forehand from Andreeva there. High, deep, heavy. Ball goes way over Chwalinska's head. She frames the ball 15 love. Big forehand from Andreeva. Looks like she's opening up her game. That was a huge forehand right there. Ripped it for a winner. Cross court. 30 love. Doing a great job with the high forehands, Andreeva. With the exception of her first service game. Ooh. That's tricky there. Slice return from Chwalinska that's set up high. Chwalinska guesses wrong. Andreeva has the entire court to play into, and she sails the ball wide. 30-15. Oh, the ball skids off the line. Off a squash shot from Andreeva. 40-15. Chwalinska had no chance to get that back. The ball did not bounce at all. Look at that. Well, camera didn't catch it. This one will catch it. Look, the ball did not bounce at all. Look, it went like this. 40-15. Drop shot from Chwalinska, very good. Counter drop shot, Andreeva, and backhand, kind of like a backhand two-handed overhead swing volley hybrid shot. Andreeva holds 5-3. Exceptional game from Andreeva here. Look, the whole thing with Arnaldi, I did a video yesterday. You guys can check it out if you want. It was a wrap-up of, you know, that semifinal Menchik-Zverev, and I dedicated a segment to Arnaldi because I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. What he has done in this tournament, I mean, he almost broke the record. And can we give the guy a break? We don't know how sick he was. He said he was, you know, he wasn't feeling well. He could barely stand, and it was just impossible for him to play. Yes, sometimes you can play when you're sick. You know, I remember Jordan doing it in the NBA Finals, but other times when you're sick, I mean, we've all been sick. You know what you feel like. Sometimes you just can't play. I've certainly been sick like that where I couldn't play. You couldn't get me out of bed. So why can't we just take his word for it? The guy needed 23 minutes to break the all-time record for time spent on the court. And this is first semifinal. Maybe it'll be his only semifinal ever. Don't you think the guy wanted to step foot on the court? So listen, we got to give Arnaldi some credit. And does he really want to go out there sick and retire? Or get beaten, you know, 1-1-1? What's the point of that? So listen, I have tremendous amount of respect for Arnaldi, and I always take the player's word for it. You know, listen, unless somebody is like a known liar or whatever, which I don't know anyone who is, but these players, you gotta listen to them. You gotta listen to Sinner when he says he didn't sleep well and he didn't feel well and it wasn't that hot on that particular day. You gotta listen to that, and then make your conclusions. With a strong forehand there from Andreeva, falling backwards and still hitting a forehand winner. Love 30. Andreeva opening up her game. Once you got that break at 3-all, playing a lot better. And Chwalinska misses a cross-court forehand, wide and long. Yeah, the argument Arnaldi should have just, this is like a weak, this is an era of weak men, snowflake, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, no, these are not tough men. The guy, just please, like, watch the TFO match. The guy, I cannot believe how he played that match against TFO. That is a wonderful shot from Andreeva. Backhand cross-court winner. Like I said, once you got that break at 3-all, open up her game, playing fantastic tennis, aggressive, high percentage. First set 6-3 for Andreeva. Again, let's close this topic, but it's completely the opposite. What people are saying about Arnaldi is some kind of like coward for not going out there or something like that because he's sick or he's some weakling. The guy would have broken the record of time spent on the court. Needed 23 minutes to do it or something like that, or 27 minutes, I don't remember. He won a match 7-6 in the fifth and was playing TFO, and deep in that fifth set was running balls down that should have been winners from TFO. It's maybe the most exciting last game of a match of this entire tournament. Go watch it back, TFO Arnaldi. They're playing in the middle of the night. It was like 1 o'clock in the night or something. The guy was exhausted and he ran and fought, and it was just so heroic. It's heroic what he was able to do. Completely the opposite of what people are saying. So he was sick, and I don't need to tell you, sometimes you just can't play. You just can't. And there's no point of going on there, and that's it. So that's my viewpoint on it. I mean, There's a reason why I dedicated a small little segment to him in that video. Guys, I'll be right back. We'll discuss the second set in a second. We'll see you soon. 2-minute break. Law 15. This first game of the second set, crucial. So to put in this the graphic, it's a 14-mile-an-hour wind like we discussed earlier today, but it's 26-mile-an-hour gusts, which is a nightmare to deal with. Strong backhand from Chwalinska. She comes in, but doesn't close enough on that volley. Frames it. 15-all. It's unfortunately windy. And listen, some people misunderstood me because do you guys remember when that Koboli FAA match went indoors and they played the first set outside and it was like a very ugly tennis due to the wind, and then the level improved right away when they went indoors? And Maya misses a high forehand, long 30-15. And I said that I'm a proponent of, if the conditions allow the players to play outside, because it's an outdoor tournament after all. And people are saying, no, Nick, you're wrong. You know, they should play indoors. I agree with you that the level of tennis is way better indoors, and wind destroys the level of the game. But I also feel like it's an outdoor tournament, and the players that are good in the wind, they should be able to utilize their advantage of being good in the wind. And players who are not should pay the price, because what outdoor tennis, especially clay court outdoor tennis, is about, one of the aspects of it are the conditions and how you deal with them. And I feel like when you take the conditions out of the equation, you're hurting that player who's so good in the wind, who's maybe practiced in the wind, who's maybe like, who has developed skills to master the wind. So that was my point. But unfortunately, and I agree with you guys 100%, the level of tennis drops significantly and it's less fun to watch. I agree. And I do think the wind has hurt this final quite a bit. And it looks right now as if Andreeva is actually dealing with the wind a little bit better than Chwalinska. I initially thought it was going to be an advantage for both players. I thought both were wind players, as I said in the intro, but right now it looks like Andreeva is dealing with it a little bit better. Very strong hold here. Up 1-love in the second set. Chwalinska serving. She has to keep the energy level sky high here so that the match doesn't slip away from her right here. Goes down the line with her backhand, misses wide, love 15. Yeah, they're talking about the Polish tennis. I was a huge Radwanska fan. I generally like Polish tennis players. I'll get into that a little bit more on the changeover. I feel like this is a good opportunity to talk about my experience with Polish players. And that's a strong forehand inside out from Andreeva. She's doing a fantastic job with the high forehand today. She's timing it perfectly. She's taking it on the rise, hitting it into the safe area, which not safe area, but the high percentage area, which is inside out. She doesn't go inside in that much. Andreeva playing exceptional tennis, especially once she got that break at 3-all. Down the line backhand from Andreeva, looking very confident. Heavy cross-court forehand from Andreeva, swing volley, cross-court. And Chwalinska with the backhand pass down the line. 15-30. She's a phenomenal passer. The worst thing for Chwalinska, in the context of this being a Roland Garros final, is that this set slips away and that Andreeva builds up a double break lead and goes up like, 3-love, 4-1, 5-1. That would be the worst case scenario. She needs to keep this as close as possible so that the nerves still can be a factor, because the nerves at 5-1, they're still probably going to be there, but to a far lesser degree than if it's like 5-4. Trying to serve out this match. Squash shot from Andreeva, and Chwalinska sails her backhand down the line long, 15-40. That's a win point right there. A kind of short forehand from Chwalinska, and Andreeva's ball recognition usually it's excellent. There, the ball just too far away from her. She didn't move up to it, but I think the wind could have had something to do with that. She frames the ball long, 30-40. One break point chance left. Squash shot Andreeva, seeing more of those in this game. Another squash shot for Andreeva. And she misses the backhand wide. They're going to check the mark maybe. The umpire comes down. He's going to check it. And let's see what it is. It's wide. I can sometimes tell, like even prior to the umpire like putting the finger out, I know he's going to put the finger out for wide. Because usually when it's in, the umpire will slow down a little bit and give it like a second look, you know, to be sure. Portiol. Second serve. And Maya didn't move her feet on that shot. Strong first forehand cross court. Got a short reply from Andreeva, and then she just got her feet stuck on that ball. Didn't move enough. Add in. Add out, sorry. Third break chance. A very soft, wide serve from Chwalinska. That goes wide. Second serve. Good return from Andreeva there. And looks like Chwalinska missed her forehand long. The umpire is going to come down to check the mark again. And it's long, confirmed by the umpire. Break for Andreeva, 2-love. Windy conditions are going to be tough. Let's say it stays windy on Sunday, tomorrow. How will that affect the players? I would say advantage Koboli. I would say that with a lot of confidence. I would say that windy conditions would complicate this match for Zverev. That's an unforced error there from Andreeva. Backhand swing volley had the whole court open. Maya barely got to that ball, you know, with two hands, just popped it back up. But again, like we have to give these players like credit, you know, dealing with this wind. There's going to be unforced errors like that. Drop shot from Chwalinska is excellent drop shot. Wow. Excellent dropper. I'm not able to watch. Oh, I love your technical commentary as well, play by play. Thank you, Zachary. Appreciate you. Love 30. It's the third drop shot winner from, or maybe fourth drop shot winner from Chwalinska, all down the line. Those are so good. High looper return from Chwalinska. She goes down the line. Slice from Mira, goes into the net. Love 40. Okay, huge for Chwalinska. Huge moment right here to keep this tight. Get back on serve. 3-love. You know, could have been dangerous in a sense that this set slips away from her. So right here will be huge. She can get it back. But again, high forehands from Andreeva are exceptional in this match. She's hitting it confidently, timing it well, hitting almost all of them inside out. Nick, why so many central balls? Is that because the angles are dangerous? Yeah, I still don't know where exactly the wind is blowing from, so I don't know. But it's surprising me that the high ball is not going to the Andreeva backhand more. Like that one right there, you know, it wasn't that high, but that's out from Chwalinska, 40-30. So, Jalur, and I'm glad you wrote that, because in all the other matches I've seen from Chwalinska so far, that high forehand was going cross court to the opponent's backhand, and she's giving Andreeva too many chances to run around that high ball and to blast forehands. So could be maybe the wind is blowing sideways, I don't know. But she's not hitting it far enough to the backhand corner. Like even this rally, look, everything's kind of going down the middle. That one's better. It went to the backhand. And she goes, okay, maybe that's our answer right there. She went a little bit more to the backhand high and she sprayed it wide. So maybe the wind is blowing the ball that way. I will also say that Andreeva is doing a good job in this match when she does get a high ball on the backhand. She's not forcing it. She's not trying to take it early. She's not trying to be aggressive. She will hit it high back and just neutralize it. And she will, a lot of times, she will hit it high back down the line. So Andreeva is an exceptional shot selector, so to speak. It's a nice rally there. Chwalinska covering the court well, getting to a lot of tough balls, but too much pressure from Andreeva, sending her left and right add in. So yeah, Andreeva is a phenomenal, let's call it tactician on the court, you know. She has a lot of variety. She can hit different type of shots and doesn't play kind of the similar, same balls very often. She will mix it up. Add in from love 40. 4 consecutive points for Andreeva. There's a forehand blast to the backhand corner of Chwalinska, who hits the backhand long. Mira holds from love 40. This could be the match-deciding game right here. Humongous difference. 2-1 on serve or 3 love. Upper break. This was such a clutch game right there. Forever 25, good to see you in here. Yeah, you're a tad late, but we still got a little bit of tennis left. Don't know if we're going 3, guys. Would have said if Chwalinska would have broken here, maybe. But now I'm very doubtful because, again, Andreeva playing a very good match. And the only poor game I saw from Andreeva was that first service game. She missed quite a few forehands in that one. And then there was another one where she hit 2 double faults. That was her second service game, I think. So those 2 games, but I will blame this on the wind. I'll blame both of those games on the wind for Andreeva. Everything else has been very, very good. And I feel that once she got the break at 3-all, it's been even better. And it's just so solid. It's so rock steady. Dealing with the quirkiness of Chwalinska exceptionally well. And we have to say that Chwalinska is not playing the way she did in her previous matches. She's throwing in quite a few unforced errors, right? She does give some free points here and there to Andreeva, which is contributing to this scoreline. Thank you for the super chat, Fitness with Obi. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Chwalinska comes in, a backhand cross-court topspin pass from Andreeva, love 15. We don't want to see 6-3, 6-0. Chwalinska needs to get on the board right here. We don't want to see 6-3, 6-0. Let's keep this second set tight. Nice wide serve from Chwalinska, but again, a strong return from Andreeva. She's hitting the ball so clean today. Down the line backhand winner. Love 30. Nice serve there from Chwalinska. Slice backhand. Andreeva ripping balls, forehand down the line winner. She's on fire right now. Love 40, 3 break points. This is basically match point, guys, right here. Because like I said in the beginning of the set, like if she gets up a double break, I don't think she's gonna feel nerves. I mean, of course she will still, but it's not the same type of nerves you feel up with a double break trying to finish this match off than when it's like 5-4, you know, something like that. So this is basically match point right here, love 40. And a mistake from Chwalinska there, but again, frame mistake, but a fantastic return from Andreeva off a slice serve. She returned that from outside the singles line. Just ripped it Djokovic style down the middle. Chwalinska tried to take that early, tried to deflect it, but this is clay court on a windy day, and you can expect the frame when that happens. Also, you know, like Jaleur says here, the crowd have gone very quiet. Crowd very much was for Maya in this one, and Andreeva with this huge lead was able to take the crowd out of it and make them a non-factor. That's a nice wide serve. Return error from Chwalinska, 15 love. Mira plays like Caroline Wozniacki. Some similarities, but I think Mira is the more versatile player between those two. But Wozniacki is an amazing player. High percentage player. And Mira misses an inside-out forehand there. Didn't miss many of those today. It has been her best shot today. But it looked like she didn't time that one right. Didn't look like she had good rhythm on that one. Didn't look dynamic like the other ones. 15 all. Better there from Andreeva, swing volley, and she makes it. Way better forehands there on the very next rally off of high balls from Chwalinska, 30-15. Also, Mira's swing volley, one of the best on tour. It's so steady. Like she doesn't miss many of those. Beautiful cross-court backhand from Chwalinska. Slice backhand Chwalinska. Cross-court backhand again, Chwalinska. Squash shot Andreeva. Another cross-court backhand for Chwalinska. Another squash shot from Andreeva. Down the line backhand for Chwalinska. Andreeva loops it back. It goes in. And Chwalinska misses the forehand into the net. That ball was dancing in the air from the wind. What a tough day to play tennis today. 40-15. It's been an hour and 8 minutes so far, and we are at 6-3-4 love, 40-15. Big serve from Andreeva there. Overhead into the net. Let me tell you guys something about this particular overhead, and it's something that should be practiced. I have a lot of drills for the overhead. Type in intuitive tennis overhead. You'll see a lot of videos on the overhead and drills. One of the most challenging overheads is the one when you're moving backwards, but also hitting an overhead while moving forward is very tricky. That's the one that's missed a lot in the Australian Open final in 2025 against Sinner. He missed a lot of overheads while moving forward. So Andreeva misses that overhead, but backs it up with a beautiful backhand down the line winner. And she's up 6-3-5 love. One game away from the Roland Garros title. Andreeva playing an exceptional match. Chwalinska, unfortunately, unable to do what she's been able to do in the last few matches and make life difficult for Andreeva. I'm very impressed with how Andreeva has handled some of these tight spots in this match, because even though it looks like a destruction, 6-3, 5-0. Listen, that first set was tricky in the beginning, right? And that could have turned both ways. Featured 4 consecutive breaks, right? So we have to give credit to Andreeva. She stepped up and raised her game in that first set. Played better. Once we got the 3-all, she played better. I think she steadied her serve, held her third service game, and she just stepped it up like a champ. And once this is over, we'll discuss Mira's chances at Wimbledon. We'll discuss what kind of career Mira can have, in my opinion, and we'll get into it more. But this is all about giving huge props to Andreeva for how she's played this match. It's incredible. And continued to swing freely. I feel like Mira misses a forehand into the net there, but I feel like Mira, once she got that break at 3-all, like she started swinging more freely and started hitting bigger. Jay LePew says, I have a feeling Conchita has had a chat with Andreeva about her attitude. I feel that she certainly talked to her a lot about that. And, you know, that's certainly something that you can learn to control. It can be tough to control, but you can learn to control it. And, you know, nobody gets a pass from intuitive tennis on poor behavior. I don't care if you're Rafael Nadal, my favorite player of all time. If I see poor behavior, I'll call it out. And the worst thing is for me hitting balls into the stands. And it's an unfortunate moment to bring this up, but Andreeva has done that many times, including her loss at against Boisson last year. She hit a ball into the stands. So I'm not going to get into it now why I hate that so much, but I think it's very dangerous and should be penalized harshly. But on the positive note, I've not seen it as often, this negativity in 2026. So certainly, like Jaleur says, you know, Conchita probably had a good talk with Andreeva and explained to her that this doesn't help her game. And even though she had some tough losses this year, like the Siniakova match was rough in Indian Wells, where she had to defend all those points from having won it the year prior, she steadied herself. Like I said, a great example is that Kostyuk match, the final of Madrid, which is certainly a tough loss, and I thought that Andreeva was holding it together quite well. So she's improving, she's maturing, and it's important to see that on a player when they're, you know, to witness when they're improving their mental game, you know. Chwalinska from 40 love to 40-30. Come on, Chwalinska, get on the board. We don't want to see a 6-love set in a final. She's got to hold here. She's got to hold right here. Come on, Chwalinska, come on. Yes, Chwalinska holds 5-1. All right, that's a better looking score line. 6-3, 5-1. So let's see if Mira can serve it out right here, or maybe get a break from Chwalinska and then she can get a hold. And then Mira will try to serve it out at 5-3 with only one break, and that could complicate things. So let's see. Strong hitting from Andreeva there. Chwalinska, again, not in a good position there on the backhand. Like I'm surprised she's taking a lot of these. Actually, what she did to a lot of opponents early in this tournament. It's happening to her today. She's not handling the height off of Andreeva well, and she's actually making a lot of mistakes on shots that she's taking early. But she hits a good return there, cross-court forehand return. Andreeva misses the backhand down the line. 15 all. Will Maya get a Wimbledon wild card? Unfortunately, I don't think so. But she can try to get through the qualies. The nice thing about Maya's ranking is that she can get into everything past Wimbledon, every single tournament. And if she decides to place in WTA 250, she'll be seated quite high in them. So it's not just the prize money that she gets here, but the amount of money she'll be able to make now. She will be set for life, and that's just a beautiful thing to see. It's a slice, cross-court drop shot from Chwalinska. She tries a forehand lob, but it's not high enough. Very solid two-handed backhand swing volley, hybrid, kind of like an overhead type shot off a high ball. Definitely a swing volley, it wasn't that high from this camera angle. 30-15. Mira 2 points away from the Roland Garros title. Kicks the first serve, interesting. Rips the backhand cross-court, misses it into the net, 30 all. Mira overhits a half-court forehand, and we have 30-40 break points. Remember what I said, guys? It's unlikely to feel nerve serving at 5-1, but you can still feel nerve serving at 5-1. Imagine the nerves if you're serving at 5-3. So maybe this can be complicated still. Mira comes in, and a very solid backhand down the line. Chwalinska doesn't get there in time. I will say that I'm detecting a slightly slower movements from Chwalinska. Like, she's not moving quite as fast as she was in some of the other matches. And maybe it's just exhaustion, you know, from having played so many matches consecutively. But there's a second breakpoint chance, and she does a little hop. She's ready. She's still fighting. She still believes, Chwalinska. She's a fighter. Gets the unforced error from Mira. Second breakpoint chance. Add out. Down the line, looper return, and Mira sprays her forehand wide. It's 5-2. Maybe we'll get a match after all, with a little bit of drama. Like I said, if she gets a hold right here, and Mira is serving for the match at 5-3, now you might see some real tension. And I'm not saying that there wasn't tension here at 5-1. That could have been, she could have been tight here too, Andreeva. Listen, it's a big stage. It's her first Grand Slam. And, you know, like Anna says here, it's a shame by the time Maya is settled a bit, might be too late. Look, I don't see it that way. I feel that Maya was in this match early. It wasn't like she had a poor start or anything like that, because we featured those 4 consecutive breaks. I just feel that Andreeva stepped her game up right there in the middle of that first set, and she just was the better player. Now, you could make the argument that Maya's level is not as high as it was in the other matches. I think that's true, based on whatever factors that are unknown. Could be maybe a little bit of nerves. The occasion could be the cumulative effect of all these matches of catching up with her. I don't know. But here's the thing, though. It's not over yet. 6-3, 5-2 Andreeva. Chwalinska serving. This is a big game right here. And if she holds, we're going to see a very dramatic game from Andreeva trying to serve out this match. Where is Sam Querrey today? Good question. I didn't see him on the desk. Maybe he caught whatever Arnaldi has. Second serve from Chwalinska. Forehand cross-court into the net. Not the type of point that you want to give Andreeva when she gave you so many mistakes in that previous game. But again, that wind looks very brutal out there. Tough to control the ball. Long first serve, second serve. This should be your how to beat a pusher, Nick. I mean, look, it's like it's so many how to beats that you can make out of this. How to beat a lefty, how to beat the quirky player, how to beat someone that hits the ball high, that slices a lot. Like it's so many different things that Chwalinska does to the opponent that are uncomfortable. So this is, again, an exceptional match from Andreeva. Down the line, backhand winner there, love 30. 2 points away from Roland Garros. Very windy. Chwalinska stops her service motion in an attempt to let that wind come down a little bit. Misses the first serve. Second serve. How to beat a player on a windy day, exactly. That's another how-to that you can take out of this one. Gets the second serve in. Again, that's not a normal forehand from Chwalinska. It's like it's almost as if that ball suddenly stopped in front of her and she was too far away. You could say it's a footwork error, but it could be wind-related error. The ball just too far away from her. She frames it, love 40. There's a nice cushion here for Andreeva. 3 consecutive chances. She can swing freely on this one and take Roland Garros right here. And Andreeva wins Roland Garros. This is incredible. What a performance. 6-3, 6-2. One of the most impressive performances from Andreeva because this is a huge stage. A lot of pressure, uncomfortable opponent, super windy day. And she played such a clean match. Really didn't do anything wrong. I think a couple of those service games in the beginning that she lost in the beginning of the first set were related to the wind. What a clean performance from Andreeva. Got to give a lot of credit. And she is the best clay court player of 2026. And I think she can win many of these. She's not going to be a one-time slam champ. Now here's the thing. She can win the other ones too. She's really good on grass. All her qualities that she has as a player translate really well for grass courts. So you can see Bjorn Borg style results. Roland Garros, Wimbledon, back-to-back. Now listen, I'm not saying that she's going to go on a Bjorn Borg style run because WTA is very competitive. And there's going to be a lot of tough opponents coming her way in every tournament. And also, you know, sometimes you could win a slam and have a little bit of a slump. Certainly, all this is possible, but I do think that Mira will be a multiple Grand Slam champion. She's going to be ranked #1 in the world eventually. She has so many years left to produce these type of results. And when it comes to clay, again, 2026, she is the best clay court player. Now, if I take a look at my draw that Simone destroyed, but at least he wasn't biting it during the match. Look who I got as a champ here. You can't see it on cam, but you can check my predictions video. Actually, don't check it out because I got so much wrong. But I got Iga Swiatek here as a champion. And Iga is far away from being the best clay court player in the world. But is Iga the best clay court player of this era? And one of the best clay court players in the history? Yes, she is. The greatest clay court player in the WTA history is Chris Evert with 7 Roland Garros titles. One of the greatest ball strikers in the history of tennis, that's Chris Evert. But Iga with 4 titles, she's a close second, and I've made many videos where I said that Iga has the chance to become the greatest clay court player in the history of the WTA. And now it looks like she might not be able to beat Chris Evert's record unless she comes out of this slump that she's in right now. I've had a lot of belief in Iga, and I picked her the last 2 years to win Roland Garros, but I'm starting to lose a little bit of belief. So I'll have to watch her play next year on clay to make my mind up. So that adds to the chances for Andreeva, because Iga, who I thought was going to be the greatest clay court player in WTA history, is far away from her best on clay. So again, Andreeva can win many, many, many of these. She's only 19 years old. And again, she can win Wimbledon. She can win US Open. I mean, she won back-to-back WTA 1000 titles on hard court. She can win Australian Open. This is a top player, and we're seeing her maturing as a player. Like I've said, I know this was uncomfortable to bring up, but I think it's important to bring up when there's an improvement in the mental game. The intro said that Andreeva sometimes had issues with the mental game, but she's shown great improvement this year from the very beginning of the year by winning a tournament right in the beginning. And she's gotten better. Not that many anger outbursts and throwing balls into the stands. It's all normal sometimes for a young player to have this. I mean, after all, the most beloved player in the history of tennis, the guy that won one ATP Sportsmanship Award after the other. Nobody has more sportsmanship awards than Roger Federer, but do you know how Roger Federer behaved as a youngster? They played indoors in Switzerland, and Roger Federer would rip the back fence off. Indoor courts have a back fence that's like a tarp that's hanging. And Roger Federer would put holes in there. He would throw rackets against that. He behaved horribly as a youngster. And even early on tour, he wasn't the best behaved player. But then he made improvements and he got better. And Andreeva can be the same way. Like Roger Federer, I've seen big improvements in her mental game, her behavior on the court, and it's nice to see something like that. But again, it's like it's sometimes normal for a youngster to be kind of wild in that regard. So very impressed. I'm very impressed. I thought, I titled my preview for this match the Nightmare Opponent. I thought this was going to be way more difficult. Now, Chwalinska did not play her best tennis. Let's be honest. She was not the same player that she was in all those previous matches. Why that is, could be a couple of different reasons. Could be the occasion got to her, or it could be the cumulative effect of all these matches. It's a lot of matches back to back. And of course, you can make the argument that, she didn't play that bad in the beginning. It was like a tricky match. It was 4 consecutive breaks. Then both players held. It was 3-all, and it's then where Andreeva stepped up her game. And you could make the argument that Andreeva didn't allow her to play her normal game. That's so difficult to handle. So a couple of different ways to look at this result, from the Chwalinska standpoint. But this doesn't change anything. Like I said in so many previous videos, this is the story apart from Andreeva winning, that people will remember. And she was a player that was struggling financially prior to this tournament, was struggling physically, mentally, and it's just a beautiful story, and it's nice to see something like that. She's now going to be ranked, I think, 21, right? 21 in the world. She can get into any tournament after Wimbledon, and she can play for an entire year with this ranking. These points are not going to fall off until next year, Roland Garros. So she's going to be set for life. And she can play for many more years and be a factor on the WTA Tour. She certainly is an exceptional clay court player. It's going to be interesting to see how her game translates to other surfaces. I think it can translate really well to grass. I do think so. I think she can be an absolute nightmare on grass. Do you remember Tatiana Maria winning Queens last year and taking out like Madison Keys, Rybakina and Isimova and winning the whole thing? So now think about that and not put Chwalinska as a lefty on a grass court. She's going to be a factor on grass. I think she can be a factor as well on hard court, but maybe to a lesser degree. We have to see. And she can have a successful now career inside the top 50. And she's going to be very fun to watch. She became a superstar. People have been very positive in regards to the Chwalinska Roland Garros, run. And it's just a fantastic story. In tennis, sometimes, you want to see epic matches. You want to see Sinner Alcaraz final, 7-6 in the fifth on the women's side. Last year we had an incredible final between Sabalenka and Goff. Maybe because of tough conditions, the quality wasn't that high, but it was dramatic. And other times you don't get this drama, and that's just part of tennis. We can't get greedy and expect every match to be like this. I mean, we've had a lot of dramatic matches this year's Roland Garros, so it can't all be pure drama. Sometimes you just get a player that's on fire, like Andreeva was in this match, and she won this match rather quickly. It was I think it was an hour and 15, right? Let's check. Was an hour and I don't know. It's all gone. All my stats are gone now. Where did it go? Hour and 22. Okay, so it is what it is. But again, Chwalinska was a lot of fun to watch over these last 2 weeks, I will say. But she was here for 3 weeks already because she played qualies. So I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to let you enjoy the trophy ceremony in peace. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning for the men's final. Check out my preview for that match on Intuitive Tennis. I posted a video last night. And I just want to quickly check what time the match is on tomorrow. It's on at 9, same time as the women's match, 9 o'clock. So we'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And thank you for joining the live, guys. It's been fun covering the women's tournament. At Intuitive Tennis, I cover WTA, just like I cover ATP. I covered both semifinals on the women's side. And in the early days, I pick one match per day. I'm going to do the same thing at Wimbledon. Don't know if I going to live stream much of the, lead-up tournaments. Maybe I will, the finals or something like that. We'll see. But again, thank you for joining the live. And make sure you subscribe to Intuitive Tennis. Don't forget, hit the notify me button so you get notified about the live stream and you won't miss it. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. I will see you guys there. All right, take care.